I'd love to waking up without the anger and the frustration. I'd love to wake up without the bitterness and the fucking hatred that's in me. And then people want to know why we get angry. Personally speaking, I think we have every fucking right to get angry and more.
I had low days and I had high days. Even on your lowest day, just, you know, keep fighting. And I would say it to anybody, is just keep fighting. Because one day the truth will come out.
Well, I felt great on the appeal court steps with my brother. I all firing questions away. I didn't take much notice of them.
Since the 1980s and 90s, there has been a constant flow of miscarriage of justice cases. Innocent people, freed from jail for crimes they did not commit. Today, The Guardian launches Justice on Trial. We will highlight the key cases about which there are major concerns. We aim to re-examine these cases and report on their progress, or lack of it, through the criminal justice system. This film shows just how, without continued scrutiny, the British justice system can get it very wrong. 1974. During a campaign of atrocities on the British mainland, 2 pubs were bombed in Birmingham. 21 people were killed. 182 were injured.
The cops told us right from the start, we know you didn't do the bombs. We've got you. That's good enough. And as far as you're concerned, you're going to be charged. You're going on trial and you're going to jail.
In a climate of hatred and fear, 6 men, including Paddy Hill, were convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment.
And you're sitting there, you're thinking, no, this can't be happening. And like all miscarriage of justice victims, we all think, oh, hang on, someone's going to see this is wrong and put it right. And by the time you wake up and smell the coffee, hey, it's too late. The rage that overcomes you is unbelievable. Even now. I've been out 18 years and I'm still, I still feel so fucking angry. But funny enough, it's your anger in prison which makes you fight, which keeps you going. Without that anger, you'd probably collapse and just fold in yourself and give up, or else commit suicide.
(1981), a robbery at a betting shop in Toxteth. The manager, John Suffield, was stabbed to death when he failed to hand over the combination to the safe. 24-year-old John Kamara protested his innocence from the start.
The day that they give me the life sentence, I knew then from that day I would have to fight my case. When I went in prison, the time stopped. So even though when I came out I was 44, in my head it was like I was 24. You know, as far as I was concerned, when I got the life sentence, the time stopped outside. I can't get it out of my mind. I can't put it to, you know, it's the past. I can't.
(1979), a body was discovered in Southampton. Part-time barmaid Teresa de Simone had been raped and strangled. Sean Hodgson was already known to the police as a pathological liar and serial confessor. He was convicted and sentenced to life.
I knew I'd done nothing wrong, but nobody was doing anything about it. But he thought I was mad in the 80s, so he sent me off to Broadmoor. And that's the worst experience of my life, being in Broadmoor.
It would take 27 years for DNA to prove Sean Hodgson could not have been the killer. Yet this very technique is now itself in the dock.
When they first introduced fingerprints at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, and indeed when they introduced DNA at the end of the 20th and beginning of the 21st century, they were both aimed at excluding someone from having done a crime. I can say those fingerprints did not come from you, or that DNA of that blood is not yours. But it's been changed round now, and it's turned round, and unfortunately the situation now comes about that they say it matches someone. Now a lot of that comes from CSI parlance and NCIS and all these TV programmes. Things don't match, nothing matches.
There's no way they could keep me in prison once the DNA came back.
Why? And would I say you couldn't describe what it's like? It's like being buried alive, and you're in a little 7 or 8 foot square concrete tomb with a wee window with bars in it and a big metal cage around the outside of it and a big steel door, and that is it. And you are on your own. Prisons are cold, heartless places. Very violent. Dog eat dog. And once your cell doors opened in the morning, welcome to the killing field.
John Kamara chose to fight his case in isolation.
16 years I spent in solitary confinement.
And throughout that time, were you writing letters day and night?
Yeah, every day and every night.
How many letters did you send?
I sent about 375,000.
Well, after they've been found guilty and are sent to prison, it's a long, long road back. They've got to find someone to start with who's prepared to take on the case. But it's very, very difficult because it's pretty well pro bono work. You've got to do the stuff for nothing.
I would get letters back saying that, well, you've got no legal aid. And I didn't have legal aid because my legal aid stopped the day I lost the appeal.
I believe that we have a government that currently, which is positively hostile to the notion of miscarriage of justice, and would seem to be of the view that it would be better for the odd person to spend their life in prison for a crime they didn't commit than to have the inconvenience of this being exposed.
The public think automatically, oh, you win your case and you get loads of money. Actually, problems started when I won the case.
You come out, your expectations, and it's nothing like you expected, because the world has moved on so fast. You're like Rip Van Winkle, waking up after 20 years. And you seem lost out here. In a lot of ways, and this might sound funny, but in a lot of ways, I was a hell of a lot fucking happier in prison than I am out here.
You miss the surroundings and people telling you what to do and what time lockup is, and whether there's any mail or newspapers or documents in the office, legal mail to sign for.
After the euphoria of his release, Sean Hodgson has found life on the outside to be lonely and confusing.
Nobody wants to know you after a couple of weeks. You just drift off into the limelight and say goodbye.
Compensation payments can take years to settle, leaving newly released people alone to cope in a world they no longer know.
Then I didn't like when I did get my final compensation. They took £75,000 for board and lodgings, which I had to pay.
I'm profoundly pessimistic. I believe that there is every reason to believe that there are just as many miscarriages of justice waiting to be revealed as were caused during the 70s and 80s. I think we're building up problems for ourselves. My real worry is there may not be people around to uncover them.